All right, so again, we're not measuring the veggies because they're cruciferous. The calories are fairly negligible, but I do have the containers all ready to go up here. I have multiple colors because I prepped for 2 people at once. So these ones are mine because they're red and, well, I like red. We're going to do another pan of veggies, and like I said, I am prepping for 2 of us, so our needs are a little different and the flavor profiles are a little different. There's the coconut oil spray, and for this round we're going with the Normandy blend. I personally stay away from carrots because of the sugar content, but it's fine for a lot of people. I just happen to have different needs. It's not that they're bad for you, it's just that if I stay away from them, I can eat more of other things that I like more. Just going to salt. Pepper. Italian seasoning. Because this feels Italian to me somehow. It's the zucchini, I don't know. All right. We're gonna pop it in the oven just like the broccoli and let it bake. So we're going somewhat out of order, but just based on how things are getting done, I'll just show you. This is my meal number 1. I'm doing 2 ounces of turkey sausage. So again, we're back to the kitchen scale. And these really cool containers. So I can put a cup of the broccoli. Ooh, I'm so close. See how good I am. Oh, so almost. Boom. All right. So there's my breakfast. And I make up several of these so I don't have to cook. And it's all pre-measured. I don't have to think. I just warm it up and go. All right, so we've got this all fluffed. We're just going to measure out 172 grams.
Knife.
177 close enough.
177 close enough.
We're doing 4 like this with 177, 175, and then we'll do 5 with about 125. Lower carbs at night, higher carbs midday during the more active time period. So this is the rice round 2, and this is the one I'm making for myself. So I'm using water instead of chicken broth. This has another black gram in it. It's awesome. Get out. Now instead of adding 4 cups of liquid, I'm actually adding 3, but it's just going to be water. I don't add salt or seasonings or anything because I do that individually on the day that I eat it, just in case I want a different flavor. This is the ground turkey, and yes, meatballs or something would be way more interesting, but it doesn't hold together well unless it's just, you add other things to it. If it's just the meat, it's just so dry and flavorless, so this works better for me. So I actually started carb cycling, and that just means I'm rotating when I have carbs. And so that I can keep track, I've got little stickers here. So we've got high dinner, low dinner, low dinner, low dinner. So basically I'm gonna have 1 day of high carbs followed by 1 day of high carbs followed by 2 days of low carbs, and then you just make that rotation throughout the week. The general idea of that is to prevent adaptation so your body's not getting used to what you're eating, but also it helps curb cravings as well. So what I've got down here is I've got it doesn't matter if you use colors or if you write directly on the containers, but the stickers are easier to take off. So I've got the stickers for lunches and for dinners, and I'll show you what that's all about as I measure. So the protein content isn't going to vary whether it is a high carb day or a low carb day. So these are the dinners. It's going to be about a cup of veggies and 4 ounces of ground turkey, and then it'll be, depending on the day it is, it'll either be rice or no rice. Scoop it in. And again, the nice thing about doing it this way is that you can add different sauces or seasonings so that you're eating the same thing every day, but you can avoid the monotony by flavoring it differently. So it's 3 ounces, almost. 405 is not too bad. We're actually going to do that with all of these because, again, it's the carb content that's going to vary. The meat isn't going to matter. It's going to be the same either way. Alright, so we're going to check on the Normandy veggie blend, and that looks pretty done to me. So we're just going to let that sit there for a minute, and then we'll get ready to portion it out for the other containers. Alright, so what we've got here is the pan of veggies, and then we've got the containers with the pre-measured rice. And I'm not measuring the veggies, we're just kind of guesstimating. About a cup. And a good mix of the different veggies, the cruciferous, and then we've got the carrots and the squash. Alright, so back to the chicken. We've still got the chicken in the brine there. We're going over here to the pan that I've already sprayed with the coconut oil again. And then we're going to come over here where I've got chicken breasts on a towel, and I'm patting dry because they are pretty wet from the brine, but they'll bake up nicer if you kind of pat some of that moisture off. And we've still got the oven set at 375, but we're actually going to increase the temperature to 400 temporarily in the very beginning, and gets kind of a nice sear on the outside if it goes in for a high temp right at first. So now we're going to just lay these on the pan, and I'll come back to that momentarily. So first we're going to just drizzle a little olive oil, and this is to hold the seasonings. That's all we're doing this for, and that's or guzzling, whatever. I'm just going to pat it on the top, and again, this is to kind of number one seal it, but also hold the seasonings on there. I'm just going to kind of rub it on it because I just want a thin layer. I don't want it drowning in oil. Pink Himalayan sea salt again. That's basically all I use for salt. And some black pepper. Okay, so I'm also going to put some of this on there. This is a fantastic seasoning blend. I picked this up at Tim's Meats, local butcher here, but it's fantastic. It's good for chicken, pork, pasta. I use it for my poultry a lot. So turkey and everything as well. And just sprinkle. And I'm going to do that to all of them. All right, so those are all done. Seasoned up beautifully. We're going to slide them in the oven. It's nice and hot at 400 degrees. And we're just going to let it sit in there for about 20 minutes. And after the initial 20 minutes when the outside is seared and is all nice and crispy, then I'll turn the heat down so that it can finish cooking all the way to the inside without drying out too bad. So, all right, so here we are with the rice that I made for me. Again, this one does not have chicken broth in it and slightly less moisture, so it's a little fluffier and drier. And we're going to be measuring grams, 100 grams of rice for this one for the high carb days. For the low carb days, I'm actually not including rice at all. 47, 81, 97, that's so close. 101, close enough. So I'll basically have 2 of these, 2 for the high carb days, and then I'll have 4 low carb meals with no rice in them at all. And so checking on our chicken now, and it's looking pretty done to me, although I think I just fogged up the screen. There we go. Look at that. We're gonna let it cool, and then I'll be slicing and dicing to add to the lunches. All right, so we're going to cut and dice the chicken and distribute it throughout all of the containers. So it's nice and finished on the inside, and the outside's nice and toasty. You can really cut it up however you want. I just like dicing it because it's easier to divide it up between the containers this way. Oh, and it feels nice and moist in there too. Moist, yes, I said moist. Okay, and then I'll just do one of these so you can see. With this one, I'm actually doing 6 ounces. Mine, I only do 4. That's close enough. Alright, and you can add sauce or hot sauce or more seasoning, whatever you want to do. But I'll get all of these done, and then per day, whatever flavor strikes your fancy, then that's what you can use. So that is it for lunch and dinner.